Act 1. The Rivalry begins. The grand ballet rehearsal hall gleamed under the glow of chandeliers, the polished wooden floors reflecting the graceful movements of feline dancers. Among them stood a plump white cat, adjusting the ruffles of her delicate tutu. Her soft fur, usually pristine, carried faint traces of previous pranks, reminders of her stepsister's cruelty. Behind her, a sleek, slender white cat watched with a smirk. Her fur was always immaculate, her movements precise, her confidence unwavering. In her paw, she held a bottle of black ink. Without hesitation, she tipped it forward, letting the dark liquid spill over her stepsister's head. Gasps echoed through the hall. Some dancers whispered in shock, others exchanged amused glances. The elderly Persian ballet instructor observed from the shadows, her golden eyes flickering with silent judgment. The plump cat's ears drooped as ink dripped from her fur, staining her paws. But she did not run. Instead, she took a deep breath, straightened her tutu, and lifted her chin. This would not break her. Act 2. The casting conflict. The ballet studio was quiet except for the rustling of paws against the floor. A large notice board displayed the casting for Swan Lake. The plump cat approached, her heart pounding. When her eyes found the lead role, she froze. White Swan, her name. A sharp intake of breath behind her signaled her stepsister's reaction. The slender cat's claws scraped against the wooden floor as she read her own name beneath the Black Swan home. Roll. Her tail flicked sharply, the bottle of black ink at her feet now an ironic symbol of her own fate. The other dancers murmured among themselves. Some were envious, others surprised. The elderly instructor, watching from afar, remained unreadable. The plump cat felt the weight of their stares, but for the first time, she didn't shrink away. She stood a little taller. The stage was hers now. Act 3. The Transformation. Golden stage lights bathed the grand theater, casting soft glows upon the polished floor. The plump cat stood at the center, her ink-streaked fur no longer a mark of humiliation, but an unintentional masterpiece. The first notes of the piano filled the air. She moved, hesitant at first, but then gracefully. Every leap, every spin defied expectations. Her ink-stained fur blended into the performance, making her look ethereal, unique. In the shadows, the slender cat watched. Her tail twitched, her claws flexing. She had always been the star, the flawless one, and yet the audience's eyes were not on her. The elderly instructor leaned forward, intrigued. The whispers among the dancers had shifted from mockery to admiration. The plump cat's heart pounded with exhilaration. She was no longer just a joke. She was becoming something greater. Act 4. The Final Performance. The grand theater was filled to the brim. The curtains lifted, revealing two figures in contrast, White Swan and Black Swan. They danced, one fierce and commanding, the other heartbreakingly graceful. They mirrored each other, a rivalry that had turned into something more, a perfect harmony. The audience was captivated. Gasps, applause, murmurs of awe filled the room. The final movement arrived. The plump cat, embodying the tragic white swan, lifted her paw high, poised in a breathtaking finish. Beside her, the slender cat held her pose, no longer outshining, but complementing. The music faded. Silence. And then, the theater erupted into applause. As the curtain fell, the plump cat bowed, her ink-streaked fur a symbol of her journey. When she turned to leave, the slender cat hesitated before stepping beside her. No words were exchanged, but something had changed. They walked off the stage together, forever bound by their dance. Did you like the story? Hit like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories.